be screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to Cypherfics. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the second part of, What If Ichigo Enters KUROINU? Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of Takamagara 2012 on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. It has been a few days since that same red-haired Shinigami had rescued both Chloe and Olga. At the same time, Volt, now hearing that someone is saving them. Angered that he's making a mockery of them, he ordered all of KUROINU to increase their guard and surveillance. Since the young man saved them, Olga and Chloe had thanked him and now joined forces with him. In return, the two elves spent the night with the Soul Reaper, filling them with the pleasure that KUROINU had denied them. The new morning came as Aliyah had woken up, left her quarters and started making breakfast for her, Seishin, Chloe and Olga. The elfling efficiently fixed up a good meal for them and sat down by the table, waiting for Seishin and the dark elves to come down. Unfortunately, they didn't come down. Everything was eerily quiet. Odd, I wonder why Seishin, Chloe and Olga haven't came down. Aliyah wondered for a brief minute until she remembered what happened last night. She remembered the time she saw Seishin making love with Olga and Chloe, and grew aroused from watching them. Oh, no. Don't tell me. Aliyah got up and went to Seishin's quarters on the second floor. The young elf knew what may happen when she opened his room door. When she opened the room door, she wasn't wrong. She stood, with a beet-red face as she saw Olga and Chloe still going at it. Seishin. I'm leaking again. Olga said as she continued riding Seishin strong while FNDLNG both her BRST as well as Chloe's. Seishin. Leaking. Chloe said as she continued brushing her shaven crevice against his face. It wasn't long until Seishin came strong once more inside Olga. At the same time, Chloe climaxed on his face. Olga's body twitched from Seishin filling her inner walls, as well as Chloe from her CLMX. The two chuckled after feeling that same euphoria as they then laid beside the young man, though his bangs covered his eyes. Wow, Seishin. Olga smirked as she looked down at the young Shinigami. Looks like you had stamina to last this much. And you are still strong. Looks like my spell did the trick. You were amazing, Seishin. Chloe said as she and Olga planted kisses on his chest. Let's do one more. That's enough. Aliyah cried, which got both of the dark elves' attention. I can't believe you three made out this much. Don't be such a stick in the mud. Chloe taunted the high elf's apprentice. Seishin enjoyed every minute of it. Oh really? Aliyah walked towards them and tried to wake Seishin up. Seishin. Are you alright? I could be, if I didn't have all of my strength drained out of my body. Seishin groaned, which surprised the girls right away. Aliyah immediately pushed both of the dark elves out the way and chanted a spell, restoring his strength and stamina. Are you alright now, Seishin? Aliyah asked him, feeling worried while he sat up. Yeah, I am now. Thanks, Aliyah. Seishin said, which earned a cheerful smile from the apprentice. Hee, wow. I know you dark elves are strong, but I never expected you two to have such a high energy. Looks like I better ask my inner hollow to train me a bit more to enhance my stamina. Inner hollow? The girls wondered. Wait, the one time you easily blocked Olga's attack, you had a mask on. Aliyah remembered that time last night. Yeah, but it's more than just the mask. Seishin said. I guess you all haven't heard of my life as a Soul Reaper. I'll be happy to tell you 3 how I got these powers over breakfast. I'm sure whatever Aaliyah had fixed up is starting to get a little cold. Olga, Chloe and Seishin all got cleaned and dressed and went down to eat their breakfast. During their meal together, the 3 explained their pasts, Chloe with her past as a SLV before Volt invaded the land, then Olga with she found Chloe and raised her as her loyal assistant to the day the war broke. She did admit that she sided with Volt to help end the war, but even bad dogs still bite. Seishin understood what happened and then he later explained his story. From the time he told them about how he got his powers early in his age to the first day he entered a place called the Soul Society, to how he got his hollow powers to his toughest fights as well as the friends he had made during his journey. Chloe, Olga and Aaliyah were quite fascinated on how well his double life was. Strong, but deserving. And that's pretty much my whole life summed up. Seishin said as he finished his story. That explains how you were able to fend yourself against my dark magic. Olga said, surprised at his story. Chloe agreed by nodding with her MSTRS, no wonder you are powerful, for a human. Yeah, even I was fascinated at how he did it that night. Aaliyah said. Anyway, Seishin, what are you planning to do when you get to Fio? I'm gonna browse around today and look for any areas near the target's location that I can sneak into. Seishin answered. Unfortunately, since KUROINU had buffed their security a bit, it'll make sneaking in a little harder. Why don't I come and assist? Chloe suggested. It's the least I could do since you saved both me and my MSTRS. I don't know. Seishin pondered over Chloe's offer for a brief minute. On one hand, I could use some help, but on the other, that could mean risking your safety to help save one of the knights, also Volt's men would recognize you pretty easily. I know you care for our safety Seishin-sama, Chloe pleaded, but please. I can't sit by and watch others like me and my MSTRS fall victim to those BSTRD dogs. Besides, I can handle myself. I see. If you're willing to help me out, then okay, I'll let you Seishin answered until something hit his mind as Chloe said his name. Wait, Seishin-sama. Of course, you did save me and Chloe, Seishin-sama. Olga added. It's only fitting to call you MSTR. As tempting as that sounds, just call me Seishin. Seishin said as he chuckled while brushing the back of his head. However, if you're going to help me, you're gonna have to change your outfit. What's wrong with our clothes? Chloe asked. Well, as much as I do like them, they are kinda revealing. Seishin answered. It would make other men want to, well, I don't want you to repeat your past all over again. I see, Chloe said as she looked down a bit, blushing as she remembered those horrid moments, but do you have something I can wear? No, but perhaps Aaliyah might. Seishin answered as he turned to Aaliyah. Do you happen to know a spell to create a set of clothes that Chloe could wear? I can try, Aaliyah answered, but I do need Chloe to describe what her new clothes would be like. Also, that cloak you had on when you saved Chloe and Olga. I did a little bit of tinkering on it to match your Soul Reaper uniform. I'll have it ready for you in an hour. Alright, I better go and browse Fio for a bit and come back. Seishin said as he got up and went for the door. Shortly later, Seishin appeared in Fio using his flash step. Luckily hardly any people were paying mind to him. Though he did enjoy his Soul Reaper uniform, he decided to blend in with the people. Seishin snuck in through someone's backyard and found a gray-white button-up shirt with a split at the bottom of the front side of it. Alongside it was a pair of blue baggy pants with a pair of black slip-on shoes. He took his uniform off and used his combat pass to store it in there and then he immediately donned those clothes. He then came out into the open and started browsing around Fio. Some people were normal, but there are others who were influenced by Volt and KUROINU, mounting women, against their will unfortunately. Seishin tried to keep that thought out of his head as he continued down the dirt trail. Shortly after he stopped to see the main castle of Fio. As he grew curious, he started to walk towards the castle's entrance. Only for a few men from KUROINU to block his path. Sorry, can't let anyone in, said the gruff man with gray hair and a scar over his right eye. Lord Volt's orders. Ever since the night someone infiltrated the castle and kidnapped those dark elves, he ordered us to tighten security. I understand, sorry to hear about that. Seishin answered. Nah, you're alright, man. The gruff man chuckled. You're a kind of guy who wants to have a good time in his life. Go on and find some women for you to enjoy with and have fun. Seishin nodded as he turned away and walked off. He continued walking for 5 more seconds until the gruff man left his post. With that, Seishin immediately used his flash step, vanishing in the blink of an eye. Seconds later, he appeared behind Fioa's castle walls. He began looking around for a place to sneak inside, but there were guards blocking the entryways. Luckily he did mstr more of his shadow traveling. He manifested his hollow mask and looked for a shadow to dive in until he found a group of trees, large enough to cast a large shadow. Seishin immediately ran towards the shadows and dived right in. In the shadow realm, Seishin is very much invisible and undetectable to the normal human eye. The young man flew through the shadows and entered the castle. To his shock, he saw several orcs, both big and small, as well as more of KUROINU's mercenaries attacking and molesting the women in the area. The young man growled as he watched this horrid thing happening. Still he continued searching around until he entered the castle itself. He searched around the place thoroughly until he entered the castle's great hall, and to his shock and distaste, he found 6 nuns, with what's left of their ripped clothes, being roughly violated by the 12 little red orcs. The first one has long wavy brown hair with sapphire eyes and a large endowed bust. The second one was a semi-petite woman with long sand brown hair. The third one was a black-eyed bespectacled woman with matching wavy hair. The fourth one has short messy sand brown hair with violet eyes, and the fifth one has reddish brown hair with dark gold eyes. Lastly, the sixth one has light blue eyes and blonde hair, short and straight with evenly trimmed bangs in front of her face. Each of them sliding their demonic shafts inside their snatches, 1 or 2 of them sliding their meat between the women's melons, and what's left of the orcs sliding their lengths inside the women's mouths. Seishin's anger continued to boil as he watched this abomination happen. In his mind he thought, I am sick of these monsters using the women like their personal toys. They need to be stopped right now. Just then, his inner hollow appeared in astral form and growled as he saw what's happening. He looked around to see if there's anyone else besides those women and orcs around. I know what you're thinking, Seishin's hollow said until he turned back to his Shinigami partner. You got 10 seconds, sick M. With pleasure. Seishin replied to his hollow as he became a soul reaper once more while keeping his hollow mask on. Aiku. The 10 seconds began the second Seishin came out of one of the orc's shadows. He grabbed that orc's head and snapped its scrawny neck. Before the others reacted to Seishin's first move, Seishin unleashed a volley of ballast in the form of small bullets, sending them flying across the room. 4 seconds had passed as Seishin immediately drew his Zanpakuto. As he saw the orcs getting up, he used his flash step and decapitated their heads with ease. 7 seconds had passed and all but one of the orcs were dead. As he saw the last orc fleeing for his life, Seishin raised his index and fired a balla fast and deadly enough that it blew its head off on impact, before it could reach the doors. 10 seconds had passed and all the orcs were dead. Seishin then turned his sight to the SPRM-covered nuns and approached them. They do seem scared of him, but then again, he is wearing a dragonoid hollow mask. He knelt down in front of them and looked at them for a second before he raised his hand and deactivated his hollow mask. The nuns awaited for what may happen next. They thought he might plan to violate them the same way the orcs did, but to their surprise, he looked at him with concern in his eyes. Are you all alright? Seishin asked them. You were in trouble and I didn't want to see you suffer by those lust demons. Wait, are you here to help us? The short blonde-haired nun asked. Who are you? My name is Seishin Samyu. I'm a soul reaper who was summoned here by your goddess's apprentice. Seishin answered, which brings a sigh of relief over the nuns. He then took a scroll out and showed it to them. I will rescue you, but I need to know where they hid these girls here, Alicia Arcturus and Prim Fiore. I know where they are. The bespectacled black-haired nun said. They were taken to her quarters at the top of the castle. The town's minister Beersley is also up there. He's the one who double-crossed our district to help Volt. That's all the news I need to hear. Seishin nodded as he stood back up. Now, you ladies have to find a safe place to hide. I will return with some help. I'll get you out of here very soon. I promise. Bless you, Mr. Samyu. The brunette said as she and the other women all grouped together and grabbed his hand. Please, just call me Seishin. Now go find a place to hide, I'll return soon. Seishin said as he ran to the nearest table's shadow and slid into it before summoning his hollow mask. The nuns were amazed that he just jumped into that shadow and vanished. But they believe that he'll return. Until then, they went into the nearest closet and hid themselves from any other mercenary from KUROINU. Shortly after, Seishin returned to the secret chapel. As he got in, Seishin stopped when he saw Aliyah as she just ran out the halls to see him. Seishin, you're right on time. Come with me quick. Aliyah said as she grabbed his hand and pulled him to Chloe and Olga's temporary room. She turned to him with a happy face. Now I want you to meet the new and improved Chloe. Chloe opened the door and stepped out of the room. She appeared wearing a black backless sleeveless undershirt tied together by 2 strings by the back of the neck, matching leg warmers, and fingerless gloves, along with a special pair of battle heels for her to run and fight in. In her side leg is her dagger. So, Seishin-sama. What do you think? Chloe asked him as she twirled around giving him the 360-degree view. Seishin gazed at her new appearance, especially that it hugs her curves very well. He calmly smirked at her new look. It suits you very well, Chloe. Seishin replied as a red blush colored his face. Why, you remind me of my friend, Yoriichi. That's exactly right, my pupil. A familiar voice was heard from the same room. A silhouette of a person was walking out of the elves' room as well. The person who stepped out of the room wore a tan cloak over a short orange dress, black arm warmers and matching leg-length combat boots. To Seishin's absolute surprise, it was his teacher and hidden crush, Yoriichi Shihuin. Why Yoriichi? Seishin gasped, which she replied with a grin. How did you get here? That would be me, Seishin. Aliyah shyly answered, before she chuckled sheepishly. I figured that rescuing the other princesses is going to be a bit tough, so I looked into your past and saw her who taught you some skills. After I summoned her, I brought her up to speed with what's going on. So basically, you're playing the prince who bravely saves the damsels that are in distress, huh, Seikun? Yoriichi teased him with that rhetorical question. Seishin blushed a dark red from her response and immediately shook his head, trying to keep her teasing out of his mind. Anyway, aside from the welcomes and pleasantries, I had entered Fioa's castle using my shadow travel and saved 6 nuns that work for Alicia but serves the high elf, Celestine. Seishin explained. Right now, they are hiding in a safe place in the castle until we rescue them. What about Alicia and Prim? Where are they at? Aliyah asked. Confined into their quarters thanks to Minister Beersley. He answered. He's also the one who joined forces with Volt and led the coup d'état in her castle. Then let us go and rescue those ladies. Chloe said as she cracked her knuckles. Right, let's go. Seishin said. Aliyah, have that divine oil of yours ready. We are coming back with 8 women joining us. Understood, Seishin. Be safe, okay? Aliyah replied as she gave Chloe his new cloak before he gave her a thumbs up as he, Yoriichi and Chloe were heading to the door. Looks like you like that elf, huh? Yoriichi asked him, which made him blush a light red. Jiga dang it, yoriichi. Seishin cried as the three left the hidden chapel. As the three were running through the forest they stopped before an empty path towards Fio. Seishin-sama, why don't we use your shadow travel skill to get to that castle in Fio? Chloe asked as she looked around for any of KUROINU's mercenaries. I can actually try. Seishin answered. I should have enough stamina to get us into the castle. Alright. Yoriichi, Chloe, hold tight. Seishin raised his hand up to his face and tapping into his hollow energy, manifests his hollow mask. Yoriichi and Chloe held onto him as he carried the two girls in his arms. He ran towards the group of trees next to him. Yoriichi and Chloe were thinking that Seishin had lost it and that they had closed their eyes hoping this would end. Seishin's eyes glowed before he jumped into shade and entered the tree's shadow. Yoriichi and Chloe both opened their eyes and saw a realm filled with nothing but black, white and gray. Above them is the area Seishin jumped in and below them was the infinite void. Whoa! The girls said. Welcome to the Shadow Realm. Seishin said through his mask. This is shadow traveling. I simply dived into any shadow I see and I can go anywhere. The young man released his grip on them, allowing them to float freely. Don't worry, you won't sink or anything. In this world, we can see what's going on and they won't see us. Gotta say, you and that hollow of yours has impressed me so far. Yoriichi said. Yeah, this seems pretty fun, Chloe said as she looked around the place before turning to Seishin, but didn't you say that it does take some of your stamina if you use it longer? Yeah, but not to worry. Seishin replied as he turned to them. My inner hollow is providing me stamina by using his Zanpakuto's Hano Koran. I'll be alright. Anyway, follow me. Right. Chloe agreed as she and Yoriichi followed Seishin through the shadow realm towards the large castle in Fio. When they got there, he led them into the main hall. He took their hands and flew into where the shadow of a table. He held the girls in his arms and the three came out of the table's shadow. We're here. Seishin said. Gotta say, shadow travel is quite the easy and silent way to go. Yoriichi said. Nice work, Seishin. Yeah. Oh, almost forgot. Aaliyah gave me your new cloak. Chloe said as she gave him her new cloak. As Seishin donned the cloak, it infused itself with his Shinigami outfit. Red jagged marks around the neck and waistline of the cloak with matching red outlines all around the ripped edges. Whoa, makes me feel like I'm the Grim Reaper. Seishin said as he looked at his new infused Shihakusho. I like it. Suits you quite well. Yoriichi said. Alright then. Here's the plan, Chloe and I will go find Alicia and Prim. Seishin explained. At the same time, we'll also bring that BSTRD pig of a minister to justice. Chloe added. That's right, Chloe. Seishin continued. Yoriichi, you'll go find the nuns along with Alicia's bodyguards, and just in case if they forgot who I was. Seishin brought out his Zanpakuto and used his Hano Koran to form a flame clone of himself beside Yoriichi. I see. With your clone, those nuns you said will recognize you. Yoriichi said. Once we got the girls and our soon-to-be captured minister, we'll meet outside on top of the castle. Right. Seishin said as grabbed Chloe's hand. Ready. Now scatter. Seishin, his clone, Yoriichi and Chloe all vanished using Shuunpa at the spot once the plan came to action. Yoriichi and the clone ran through the halls until he stopped. I have an idea on where the girls are at. Clone Seishin said. But we have to use shadow travel. Alright then, you're the captain of this plan. Yoriichi said as she took Clone Seishin's hand. Seishin found a shadow beneath the closest lantern, wide enough for the both of them to go in. Once they jumped into the shadow they flew through the shadow realm until he found them inside a secret room inside the castle. The two nodded and flew out of the shadow the nuns made. We're here to save you. Clone Seishin said, which made the nuns hug both the clone and Yoriichi, happy that he kept his promise. Can you help us find any others? Yoriichi asked them and they nodded in return, willing to help find the others. At the same time, Seishin and Chloe ran through the halls and stairs looking for Alicia and Prim. It wasn't long until the two stopped to hear muffled moans as well as the faint smell of SXL fluids. The two were near the girl's room, despite knowing what they were about to see. Seishin blasted the doors down with his Zero and saw Prim slamming her slimy strap-on of a PP inside her. She looked down at her with an Ichigo look on her face and her eyes void of consciousness but full of lust as she enjoyed every second sliding her slimy inside Alicia's wet snatch. Alicia, on the other hand, was enduring it as best as she could. She kept a piece of her sanity deep in her mind during the month-long service, but even she knows she couldn't hold on much longer. Just then, Seishin's hollow called him. Sorry to interrupt, Seishin, but I have urgent news. Seishin's hollow said. I sense Volt, he's a few miles away, and he's not alone. He has about 20 more of his men with him. I see. Anything else? Seishin asked him. It seems that Alicia won't hold on to her willpower for long, Seishin's hollow continued, the next load that Prim will release. Inside her will most likely break her. Alicia. I'm about to leak. Prim cried as she continued pounding her faster while her tongue was out like a dog in heat. No. Not inside me. Don't leak inside me again. Alicia cried. Then I guess we better make it quick. Seishin said as he used his index and formed an upside-down triangle. Now. Beikado number 30. Shitatsu Sansen. The inverted triangle Seishin formed launched solidified energy triangles at Prim, freeing her from Alicia and pinning her to the bed, seconds before she sprayed her load all over the bed. Let me go. I have to please Alicia. Prim cried as Seishin stood before her. Sorry, Prim, but don't worry. You'll be back to normal soon. Seishin said as he held out his palm. Tanma Otoshi. In a brief second as Prim saw the white light emanating from Seishin's gloved hand, Prim was knocked out cold. He mentally thanked Shinji for teaching him that move before he approached Alicia. You must be Alicia, are you alright? Seishin asked the blonde knight. Barely. But who are you? She asked him, just as Beersley stopped to see the intruders. Beersley, UBSTRD. Beersley gasped as he was spotted and attempts to run down the halls, finding help. Chloe and Seishin ran out into the hall and spotted him halfway down. Chloe. Seishin cried as he saw the cowardly elder man try to flee. I got this. Chloe said as she raised her palm to the fleeing elder. To Seishin's surprise, he knows just what move that was. Beikado number 63. Seijo Sabaku. The second Chloe closed her hand into a fist, yellow spirit energy appeared in front of him, taking on the form of thick rope. The rope immediately binds the elder man from head to toe as he fell to the ground. Chloe, how did you learn that skill? Seishin asked her, still astonished at what happened. How do you know Kido? Yoriichi taught me the basics. Chloe answered. This was my first time doing this and I can't believe it worked. Chloe. Seishin called her, which got her attention. Before she reacted, Seishin immediately slid his mask up a little and kissed her lips for 3 seconds before putting it back on. You are amazing. Seishin cheered for Chloe, making the blonde dark elf blush before he went to pick up the elder minister and dropped him down before handing Alicia, who could barely walk. No, it's you. You're the masked ma dash. Before the man could finish speaking, Seishin used Tanma Otoshi once more, knocking him out as well. Alright, we got the girls as well as the pig. Seishin said as he put Prim on his shoulder and picked the man up in a sack. Let's go meet up with Yoriichi. Yes, Seishin-sama. Chloe replied as she followed him to the top of the castle. They met up with Yoriichi and his flame clone along with the castle's librarian, the nuns, and Alicia's bodyguards. Looks like you made it, nice work. Seishin said to Yoriichi before his flame clone walked towards the original. You did well on your end too. Yoriichi smirked. So, how will we get out of here? Chloe asked her. There are no modes of transportation around here. Aaliyah gave me this potion that I can use with my senkaman. With it, we can return to the chapel without being spotted by the enemy. Yoriichi replied as she took out the vial and poured the potion on the spirit key. She held it out to the side next to her and twisted it. A senkaman appeared and opened it right inside the entrance of the hidden chapel. Good to know. Seishin replied. You and Chloe, take Alicia and Prim and the other girls to the bathing chamber, Aaliyah will show you the way. My clone will take our new guest down to the basement. What about you? Chloe asked. Volts is almost here. I don't want him to see you. Chloe understood what Seishin said. Don't worry, I'll be fine. I'll see you in a few. Chloe nodded before sliding his mask up and kissed him on his lips for good luck. She then ran into the senkaman seconds before it closes up. Once Chloe and the others are safe, Seishin then turned to see Volt for the first time. So. You're the rebel who's taking my slaves. Volt said as he watched the masked Shinigami jump off the edge from the top of the castle and safely landed on the ground. And you're the pompous but who corrupted this land. Seishin rebuked, making him smirk. I must say, you're starting to become a bit of a pain in my plan. Volt continued. The plan to turn this entire continent into what I dub, Continental. Really? Seishin sighed with his hand over his face and shook out of pity, Continental. That has to be the biggest joke of a name you could ever think of. What are you talking about? Volt said as he glared at him. Turning the women into slaves for every man's need. Seishin continued. Obviously I find both this plan and you pathetic. Call it as you want, but we're making this plan come true. Volt grinned. Say, you seem strong, why don't you join us? You can have a castle to call your own, filled with as many women to serve you. Sorry Volt, but I'm gonna have to pass on that ridiculously stupid offer. Seishin rebuked. The thing about power-hungry men swaying others to join you. It makes me sick to my stomach. Sorry, but I'd rather go with my plan on saving the princesses than join you bags of SHT. You dare insult me? Volt growled as he drew out his broadsword. Let's see how bold you are after taking all of us on. Everyone, attack him. Seishin watched as Volt and the others all charged toward Seishin. All the Shinigami did was placing his hands close to the center of his face with the fingers spread toward his eyes. As much as I would love to play with you, I rather pass on that. Looking forward to the day KUROINU dies, Volt. Beikado number 82, Taioken. As Volt and the other were inches from Seishin as he closed his eyes, a white light that fires out and blinds everything. Seishin sighed as he started walking past him and left a small scar on his right cheek. He then jumped into Volt's shadow and fled. As light faded, the masked Shinigami vanished. DMN. He's gone. Volt yelled. Everyone tighten the guards in the other districts even more. We won't let our prize beaches get taken away by this freak. And if anyone fails to stop him, I'll kill him. Volt stormed off, seething in anger at seeing another two princesses were taken away by the masked man, and to top it off, that same masked man got away once more. His men grew nervous, but understood the situation as they all followed him back to his headquarters. Minutes later, everyone was inside the bathing chamber as Aaliyah added a drop of her divine oil into the water. The water began glowing and bubbling, healing the women as well as Prim and Alicia. At the same time, the elfling chanted a spell to extract the slime off of Prim's crotch and eliminated it using her mystical fire. As Aaliyah along with Chloe and Olga stepped out of the room, Seishin appeared, a little fatigued from using shadow travel multiple times, but happy to be back. Seishin-sama. Chloe cried as she, Olga and Aaliyah hugged the Shinigami. I'm fine, everyone. Thanks for worrying about me though. Seishin smiled as he hugged the girls back. How are Alicia, Prim and the others? Aaliyah's magic is doing wonders for the girls. They'll be restored in a few minutes. Olga answered. They were nervous at first when Chloe and I were here helping them, but we explained what happened to us as well. They took the explanation well. Yoriichi is currently down in the basement with Minister Beersley. Aaliyah said. We'll wait until Alicia's available. Alright then. Seishin replied as he walked over to peek at how Prim and Alicia are doing and saw them hugging each other, with tears running down their faces. Gomenasai, Wani-sama. Prim cried with her face in Alicia's bosom. It's okay, Prim. Alicia said as she petted her head like a cat. It's not your fault. Everything's fine, now. Seishin smiled as she saw the two girls safe and sound before he went to sit down and wait near the door. A short few minutes later, Alicia and Prim were out of the bathing chamber, wearing their clothes once more. The two girls saw Seishin, who was resting his eyes for a brief moment, and approached him. Alicia was the first to call him. Excuse me, Seishin. Alicia called out to him, the two startled as Seishin then woke up. Oh, Princess Alicia, Princess Prim. Seishin said as he stretched his arms. How are you girls? We're fine, Alicia replied. We want to say thank you for risking yourself for saving us. It's no problem. Seishin wore his warm smile as he brushed the back of his head. You should also thank Queen Olga's assistant, Chloe, as well as my friend Yoriichi. They also helped out with the rescue. It's kinda a first to get complimented from someone other than Seishin or Queen Olga. Chloe said while blushing lightly. But I'm glad we could help. Especially coming from our bold leader. I know that this is sudden, but the reason I am here is to rescue the Princess Knights and defeat KUROINU once and for all. Seishin explained. If it's not too much trouble, would why dash? You don't need to explain it, Seishin. Prim answered. You did so much to not only save both of us, but our bodyguards, librarian and even the nuns who worship Celestine, well, now both Celestine and Aaliyah. Yeah, we would be honored to lend you our strength to defeat KUROINU. Alicia added. Both Prim and I are in your debt. It's no problem, really. Seishin brushed the back of his head, blushing a light pink from the compliments. You don't have to repay me. Seeing you both safe and sound is my reward. I know, but I want to properly thank you in my own way. Sooner or later. Alicia said with a generous smile which made Seishin smile in return. Oh, I almost forgot. We also have a guest here and I think it's time that he accepts his fate. Seishin said. Follow me. A guest? Alicia questioned curiously as she followed him. Who else did you bring to the secret chapel? Alicia followed Seishin down to the basement where Yoriichi was at, leaning against the cell bars, twirling the keys around her finger. I've been waiting for you. Yoriichi said with a calm smirk on her face. Our prisoner is ready to stand trial. Sorry for the wait, our additional guest just got out of the bathing chamber. Seishin replied. It's all good, hotshot. He's all yours. Yoriichi unlocked the door to the prisoner's cell and approached the man who was trapped in spiritual fabric weighed down by heavy iron shafts, preferably called Beikado number 99, Part 1. Kin. The prisoners struggled to get out, even with the sack on his head. Seishin stood in front of the bound man. How does it feel to be working with the wrong team, Minister Beersley? Seishin said as he ripped the sack off the fat man's face. He glared at the red-haired Shinigami despite the black eye and bloody lip on his face. You're the one who kidnapped Alicia and Prim. Do you have any idea what you're doing? Beersley slurred out, spittle flew out of her mouth as he tried to speak clearly. Of course I am, you old fart. Seishin smirked evilly at the elder potato before him. I am here saving the princess knights from SCM like you. You idiot. Why would you go against what KUROINU is doing? You should join us. Beersley looked at him with bloodshot eyes, berating him. Think of all the women you see dash. Seishin punched the man's jaw, strong. Spittle and 3 teeth came out of his mouth from the result. A weak man tempting me to join KUROINU. Seishin crossed his arms before he leaned down until his face was inches from his. You know, I met Volt just a short while ago and he asked me that same crappy question, and like I said to him, I'll say to you, I rather go with my plan on saving the princesses than join you bags of SHT. How could you deny that offer? Beersley yelled out, only for Seishin to punch him again, bruising the old man's nose. Some people would rather think straight that, not trash like you. Seishin rebuked. Treating women like slaves. That's a load of CRP, that's why I am going to end KUROINU's reign. Speaking of women, I have a guest here that is dying to get her revenge. Isn't that right, Alicia? As Seishin moved to the side, Beersley was shocked to see Alicia approaching him. Her bangs shadowed her eyes, but nothing could hide her seething anger at the man who raped her. How? How is she dash? You're wondering why she's all better. I had help restoring her to before you stole her purity, you leech. Seishin said with a calm smirk. But the harsh memories and the phantom pain still remains. Beersley. Former Minister Beersley. Alicia spoke in a calm voice, despite the anger building up inside her. I won't ask why you had done what you did to me that month back. Your reasons still linger in my mind, that's why. Alicia pulled out the spirit dagger Yoriichi gave her and raised it above her head. Beersley closed his eyes, fearing the inevitable until he felt the bind trapping him loosening. He opened his eyes and saw that he was free. I have nothing more to say to a monster like you. Alicia said as she turned back, walking towards the cell door. Suddenly Beersley saw a piece of sharp metal, grabbed it and then slipped behind Seishin, who stared at the rusty piece of metal in the man's hands. With an insane look in his eyes when he looked at Alicia looking back, he thought he had the upper hand. Oh, you poor girl, you should have killed me with that dagger. Beersley said. Now if you don't want your leader's throat splattered on the floor, I suggest you do what I say. Just then, Yoriichi chuckled, which got both Beersley and Alicia's attention. Did you think being held hostage is gonna change anything? What are you saying? Beersley snapped at her, confused at what she's saying. Alicia, Seishin is a soul reaper and quite the powerful one. Yoriichi said to the princess knight. If I know Seishin, he already anticipated this moment. Alicia turned back to Seishin, who calmly nodded at her before it all made sense as she remembered Seishin and Chloe using what she thinks was magic when they saved her and Prim. The princess nodded and charged towards them. She drew her sword and immediately stabbed her sword through them. What? Impossible. Beersley croaked as his body trembled from his shock at Alicia's sudden attack. Just then, what was Seishin, but actually one of his flame clones from his Hano Kuran, dissolved into thin air. You bstrd. I helped raise you after your mother killed Herschel. Alicia swiftly slit his throat before he could finish her sentence. Seishin, on the other hand, came up from the shadows thanks to his shadow travel skill. Sorry, but you're wrong. Seishin said. One of my clones snuck back into the castle and seized your journal. You killed her father, made her mother your toy, driving her to suicide. And you violated her, making her unable to save Prim. Guess what, old man? It's judgment time and it's ruling in death's favor. It was Volt. Beersley rasped out as he reached out to them. No. He's next, Seishin said as he raised his palm in front of him as a zero was forming in front of him. Yoriichi immediately uses Dankyu and formed a powerful defensive wall against the rock wall. Seishin watched as Beersley screamed seconds before he was engulfed by Seishin's zero. Once the red beam faded and the smoke away, no trace of him was left behind. It's far from done, but rest in peace. Mom, Dad. Seishin immediately wrapped Alicia in a hug before broke down crying when she dropped her sword. Seishin helped walk her out of the cell room and out of the basement. The two silently walked past the kitchen as Aliyah and Prim were teaching Olga to cook and into the chapel's altar without getting Prim's attention. Chloe saw the two walking by. She was about to ask him if she's okay, but Seishin silently nodded. The two walked into the altar and sat down at the front row. Alicia, are you going to be alright? Seishin asked her. I'll manage. Alicia answered as she leaned her head against Seishin's shoulder. I have so much mixed feeling about what's going on, sad that my parents are dead and when I failed to save Prim. Mad for Volt, breaking us and turning us into slaves for pleasure. I'm even happy that you of all of those BSTRD males would go out and risk yourself to save us. Why can't there be more men that are kind and protective like you? I know what you mean, Alicia. Seishin sighed as he looked up the cross on the wall. There are still men who would do stupid things, just because they're either scared of losing what they love, maybe for greed, or maybe just out of stupidity, even in my time. We're all not perfect, not even me. Alicia looked up at Seishin, who then turned his sight back to her. But there are still others who still think straight, but still do things for the ones they love. Well. I'm relieved to have someone like you to come and save us. Alicia said until she placed her sword down on the bench and turned back to the young man. Seishin, I don't want to be alone and remember those horrid memories. Please stay with me, make me forget those moments. Alicia. Seishin saw her moving her face up to his until her lips kissed his. Seishin understands what she meant and how she felt, so he accepted her. The two kissed for a few minutes, their tongues swirled around in each other's mouths. Seishin pulled his lips back from Alicia's, leaving a saliva trail between their lips. Then he took his cloak off, which magically separated itself from his Soul Reaper outfit, and laid it across the floor. Seishin was the first to lay down with Alicia on top of him. The two resumed kissing until she undid his shihakusho. When she did, she blushed but marveled at his lean but muscular torso, and even more when she saw his erected tower in front of her. Seishin, I never knew you were so big down there, even bigger than Volts. I know you don't want to think of Volt, KUROINU, or Beersley. I'll be sure to give you a happy ending, even those guys combined can't match. I know you will, Seishin. Alicia replied. Please, let me do the work. Just sit back and relax. Alicia took her armor off and put it aside, revealing her naked body to the Soul Reaper. She blushed a light pink before she leaned in and planted butterfly kisses on his neck. As she kissed down to his pecs and gave each side an embrace, she reached with her right hand down to his strong. As she swirled her tongue on his NPL, she began stroking his hardness. Seishin moaned softly at how well Alicia was doing. He knows Volt had forcefully taught her those moves despite clinging to her sanity, but he's relieved that she's actually doing it with someone she loves. It wasn't long until she reached down to his strong pages. Alicia marveled at how strong and big his was. After giving her a nod, Seishin watched as Alicia planted her soft lips on his tip, sucking on it softly with her tongue swirling around it until she adjusts to the flavor of his. Alicia then started sucking on his hardness, earning a from her new lover. Growing aroused, Alicia took her melons and squished his PP between her mounds and started sliding it up and down while her tongue lapped the tip. Alicia, it feels really good. Seishin said as he watched her paizuri. As Alicia looked up, smiling at the pleasuring look on Seishin's face, she stopped so she could place her rear near his face. Seishin blushed as he saw her shaven womanhood inches from his nose. Seeing that she wants him to make her feel good, Seishin nodded and went in. He opened her folds and saw her pink entrance, drenched in juices. He took a second to gaze at her entrance before he leaned in and started licking her entrance softly. Alicia gasped and moaned as she felt his soft tongue licking her folds, tracing against her entrance, teasing the blonde princess into wanting more. Ah, Seishin. Ah, don't stop. It feels so good. Alicia said to him, which he nodded as he then started licking her entrance deeper. The blonde princess moaned a little louder before resuming her paizuri on Seishin's pages. The two moaned, from the sensation each other gave until Seishin decided to go a little more. He planted his lips on her CLTRS and suckled it softly while he slid 2 fingers inside. Feeling her CLT being stimulated, pushed Alicia towards her CLMX, knowing that's her weak spot, and with the feel of his fingers sliding in and out of her entrance, pushed her to the edge. Seishin felt the same as well. Her paizuri was more than enough to make him reach his CLMX as well. It wasn't long until Alicia got a face full of juices and Seishin felt Alicia's juices sprayed all over his face. So much. And yet he still has more. Alicia thought when she gasped as she scooped Seishin's load off her face and tasted it, seeing that she liked the flavor. Soon after she started cleaning the remains off his strong until it was all cleaned up. She suddenly gasped again as she felt Seishin licking her remaining juices off her legs and crotch clean off. The blonde princess turned to him and kissed him deeply with her arms around his neck and his arms around her waist. Seishin then laid her down gently on the cloak, while the two kept their arms around each other. "Are you okay, so far?" Seishin asked her, feeling concerned for her. "I'll be just fine." Alicia replied with a warm smile. "Being with you is making me forget those memories. I am feeling better by the minute. I'm glad to hear that you're well." Seishin smiled back. "Seishin, please take me. I want your strong PP inside me," Alicia said as she looked down at his hardness was in front of her entrance. "Okay then, I'll be gentle." Seishin nodded as rubbed his tip against her entrance before he gently slid the tip inside her. Alicia endured the pain as she felt her virginity being taken, inch by inch. It wasn't long until Seishin took her reclaimed virginity. The two stayed still as Alicia endured the pain from her hymen's seal being broken. Just then, Seishin's body began glowing, much to Alicia's surprise, as her the pain began numbing away rather quick until it was no more. "I never expected you to do that," Alicia said. "I am a soul reaper after all, but one of my unique gifts is that I can use my spiritual energy to heal wounds, whether it's my wounds or anyone else's," Seishin said. "I would rather see you happy than in pain right now." "I know, and thank you for caring so much, Seishin." Alicia leaned up and kissed him softly once more before she was fully adjusted to his PP inside her. "I'm ready now, go ahead." Seishin nodded as he held her hips and was about to start moving inside her, until Prim of all girls appeared in front of them. Prim." Alicia gasped. This isn't what it looks like." "It's okay, Wani-sama." Prim smiled at them. "Seeing you happy is all that matters, but I have one question to ask you both." "What's the question, Prim?" Seishin asked until both he and Alicia gasped as Prim stripped her clothes off in front of them, showing them her naked body and her crotch, wet with arsel. The pink-haired princess smiled as she looked down at the two before she asked them the very question. "Is it too late to join in?" Seishin was surprised that Prim initiatively asked them that question, but even he knew that Volt and his men did break Prim as well, making her a SLV for his men to satisfy. But now that she's with Seishin, she wants him to help forget those memories as well, and make new ones with him and Alicia. Both Seishin and Alicia looked at each other for a minute until she smiled and nodded. Seishin then came up with the answer. "You're welcome to join, Prim." Seishin smiled at Prim, which made her heart skip a beat. She ran in and hugged Seishin with her perky melons in his face. Now that Prim joined in the love-making, Seishin resumed thrusting his hardness inside Alicia while Prim made Seishin lick her wet crotch. She stood in front of his face with her left leg on the bench while pressing Seishin's face in her wetness. As Alicia felt his PP hitting every spot inside her, Prim felt his tongue licking both her CLT and her folds, earning a MMM from the pink-haired princess. Seishin, your tongue feels so good. Prim cried with a smile on her face. Don't stop. Lick me deeper. Seishin stopped licking Prim's CLT and then slid his tongue inside her wet entrance. Prim's moans grew an octave higher as she felt Seishin's tongue wiggle, tickling her inner walls and hitting her sensitive spots. Prim remained smiling as she pressed his head deeper in her crotch, making his tongue reach her G-spot. Alicia felt his strong PP hitting her sensitive spots so well, she moaned a little louder as she began FNDLNG her melons. She and Prim had endured being ravaged by Volt and his men. Comparing that to what Seishin's giving them, they would rather have Seishin than being with slaves to KUROINU. A short moment later, Seishin had Alicia on his lap riding his strong while Prim was riding on his tongue. Prim enjoying every second of it, at the same time wants her Wani-sama to leak so she can have a turn with him. Prim leaned in and started suckling on one of Alicia's perky melons, surprising the blonde princess. Wani-sama. Seishin, I'm about to leak. Prim cried while she teased her CLT. So am I. Alicia replied. Alicia. I'm almost there. I'm about to leak. Seishin said. Leak inside me, Seishin. Alicia cried. I want to serve you and only you. Does that mean what you're saying? Seishin asked her. Yes, when you defeat KUROINU, Prim and I want to marry you. Alicia cried. Very well, I'll marry all of you when this battle is all over. Seishin nodded until he felt his PP ready to blow. I'm leaking. Seishin. Alicia moaned as she, Prim and Seishin all climaxed at the same time. Prim climaxed on his face, Alicia felt an large orgasm rushing over her as Seishin filled her inner walls. Shortly after, Seishin and Prim laid her down beside him after sliding his PP out of her creamy entrance. Suddenly Prim sat on the table and spreads her legs, wanting him to do it to her as well. Seishin, please. I want it. Prim cooed as she spreads her folds in front of him. Wow, Prim, that's quite a bold pose for you. Seishin said. Yeah, but seeing your PP inside Alicia makes me want it, too. Prim replied. I want to become yours, too. Please take me. Ah geez. How could I say no to you, Prim? Seishin sighed and chuckled as he approached her and aligned his PP to her entrance. Seishin then slid it slowly inside her until it's all in her. Prim felt the pain of her purity taken from him, but then she felt the pain numb away as she saw Seishin's hands glowing a light blue. Thank you. I'm ready now. Prim said as Seishin replied with a nod before he began thrusting his length inside her. Prim, happy to be one with her savior, moaned as she felt his strong hitting every sensitive spot like before. Prim laid back and fondled her perky melons as Seishin did all the work. A few minutes later and Prim was on all fours as Seishin went deeper inside her. Wow, Prim, you're tight. Feels good, but tight. Seishin said as he continued his assault inside her. This is amazing. I am finally one with Seishin. Prim said as her smile never left while Seishin continued. As he continued, he leaned down and started FNDLNG her perky melons. Prim turned slightly and kissed Seishin as their hips smack with each move. Shortly after, Seishin was sitting on the bench with Prim on his lap, riding him. Her melons were jiggling in front of his face with each second she bounced on his hardness. The young man took one of her melons in his mouth and softly suckled, making Prim even more. Seishin felt his PP nearing his limit as it began tingling and swelling up a little. At the same time, Prim's nearing her end. Prim, I'm about to leak, are you almost there? Seishin asked her. Yes, I'm about to leak too. Prim replied. Please leak inside me just like how you did it to Alicia. Ah. I can't hold it. Seishin groaned as his PP is ready to burst. Seishin. Seishin. Prim cried until the two moaned loudly as they reached their CLMX. Prim froze despite it twitching from the CLMX as she felt Seishin flooding her inner walls. Seishin felt multiple globs of juices being shot out of his strong cannon. After Seishin stopped, Prim kissed his lips once more. Thank you for everything, Seishin. Prim smiled as she nuzzled his chest. You're welcome, both you and Alicia. Seishin smiled as he petted Prim's head. Just then the smell of dinner reached the three in the altar. I forgot I had helped Aaliyah, Chloe and Olga make dinner for all of us. Prim said. It should be done by now. Oh, no. We better get dressed right away. Alicia gasped as she, Seishin and Prim immediately got up and dressed. Come on, we better go and join in the feast. Seishin said with a smile as he held out his hands for both Alicia and Prim to take. The three of them left the altar and joined the others for dinner. It has been another few days since Seishin had saved Alicia and Prim. Seeing both of the girls safe and sound was a wonderful sight to see. While Seishin, Yoriichi and the girls all laid low until things subside, Yoriichi and Seishin were training with Chloe in Kido. Yoriichi taught her Baikado like Seijo Sabaku, Shitatsu Sansen and Rikujo Keoro while Seishin taught her Heido such as Byakurai, Reikoo and Shako. Even Olga was impressed at her improvement and the way she used those spells without any incantation. Seishin also wanted to teach Olga but she's comfortable with her own skills which he understands. As the morning sun of the new week shined down through the curtains and onto his face, Seishin slowly woke up. He was half tired as he stretched his arms out until he lowered his left hand on something soft. Curious, he continued to feel that very softness in his hands. He has a feeling that they're not pillows as he lifted the blanket. He wasn't wrong when he saw Alicia on his left with his hand on her BRST, Olga on his right and both Chloe and Prim on his lower half. All naked and sleeping soundly. It wasn't long until Alicia woke up. She softly yawned as she stretched her arms and rubbed her eyes. When both Seishin and Alicia's eyes meet, despite them naked, the blonde princess smiled as she wrapped her arms around his neck and gave him a peck on his cheek. Good morning, my knight with blazing sword. Alicia said. Alicia, good morning to you, too. Seishin replied. It seems you had a good night's sleep. Yeah, sleeping with both you and Prim was quite relaxing. Alicia giggled. I kinda didn't expect Olga and Chloe to be here with you. I think they snuck in here last night after we did. Really now? Seishin wondered as he turned his sights to Olga and Chloe. Well, if they want to sleep soundly with me, I have no reason not to say no. The only thing we'll be needing is a bigger bed. Yeah. Both Alicia and Seishin nodded as the two looked, before they chuckled. As the two chuckled, Prim, Chloe and Olga all woke up. Seishin-sama, Ohayo gozaimasu. Chloe greeted. You all slept well. How are you ladies feeling? Seishin asked them. Sleeping with you helps me feel at ease, Seishin. Olga answered before she gave him a pleasurable embrace on his lips as Prim nuzzled herself against his chest. Seishin. Prim cooed as she hugged his chest, making the young man chuckle. We better go and freshen up. Aaliyah and Yoriichi may need our help with getting breakfast started. Seishin said. Something tells me she just woke up. It wasn't long for the five of them to get freshened up and dressed. As they left the room towards the kitchen, they all helped Aaliyah get breakfast fixed up. Soon after they all ate, Seishin and Yoriichi took Chloe down to the basement so they can help teach the blonde-haired dark elf more Kido. Olga joined in to see how her new skills were coming along. As the dark elf queen stood beside Yoriichi, Seishin set up multiple targets in the cell room, each with an illustrated picture of Volt and then walked back to Chloe. Alright then, are you ready, Chloe? Seishin asked her. I am ready. Chloe said. I have to say, you have a very good memory of what Volt's face looked like. I have Aaliyah to thank for that. Seishin said as he stood back. Now then, whenever you're ready. Begin. Chloe stood as she closed her eyes, and took a deep breath as she sharpened her inner focus. As she opened her eyes and glared at the middle target while she raised her right index. Hado number 4. Byakurai. Chloe cried as a beam of blue lightning was fired from her index finger. In a brief blink of their eyes, the middle target was successfully struck and a hole the size of a fist was left on the target mark. Excellent. Next one. Seishin said to her. Hado number 31. Shaka-o. Chloe cried as she raised her right palm out to the one on the left and a ball of crimson-red energy the size on her hand was formed. As she fired the ball of crimson energy, it flew as fast as the normal eye could see and shattered the second target mark with ease. Nicely done, my handmaiden. Olga said as she, Yoriichi, Seishin and the now joined Alicia and Prim cheered, which made Chloe smile like an innocent schoolgirl. Keep it up, Chloe. That's 2 for 2. Yoriichi cried. Understood, Yoriichi-sama. Chloe said as she glared at the third target mark on the left corner. Hado number 33. Esokatsui. She raised her right palm out while hold it with her left as blue flames were discharged. She concentrated the spell at the target and successfully burned the third target with ease. Wow, Chloe is really good. Prim said. What kind of ability is she using? It's Kido. Yoriichi said. They are skills that us Shinigami learned. During the time Seishin and Chloe was rescuing you and Alicia, I taught her a few defensive skills. Seishin's currently teaching her the offensive skills, and she's doing exceptionally well, for an elf. Chloe looked at the remaining target mark and glared at Volt's picture on it. She remembered the time he and those mercenary bastards violated both her and Olga, breaking them mentally and virginally. Especially those times he made them be violated by the viewing public multiple times. Angered, Chloe began generating blue energy with her index and middle fingers. She then makes a pushing motion with both of her palms preparing to push the gathered energy. This time, you die Volt. Chloe muttered. Hado number 73. Soren Esokatsui. Chloe unleashed a powerful burst of energy that her previous use of her Esokatsui was greatly dwarfed. Seeing how strong Soren Esokatsui is, Seishin immediately used Dankyu behind the target before it was engulfed in the blast. Chloe caught her breath and regained her composure until she heard someone clapping. She turned to see Olga applauding, then Seishin, then Yoriichi, and the rest. Chloe blushed as she approached them. You did a great job, Chloe. Yoriichi said with a calm smirk. You did really well out there. I must agree. Seishin added. Yoriichi arriving here was surprising, but seeing you using Kido is indeed a sight to behold. You really impressed me, Chloe. Hearing what Seishin said made Chloe hug him, earning a chuckle from him. She then pulled herself from the hug and looked at Seishin before kneeling down to them. I promise I won't let you all down, Olga-sama, Yoriichi-sama, and especially you Seishin-sama. Chloe said as she wiped the tears off her face. I know you won't, my right-hand knight. Olga said to her with a calm smile on her face. Chloe smiled back as she got back up. Seeing that you're more used to Kido, I'll have you and Yoriichi assist me with later today when we rescue another of the Knights of Chivalry. Aaliyah, since we saved, Olga, Chloe, Alicia and Prim, who else are left? Yoriichi asked the elf apprentice as she projected the girls using her aura. Right now, the remaining ones left are Maya, Kagaya, Ruru, Claudia, and, my teacher Celestine. Aaliyah answered as she sulked down. Seishin walked over to her and gave her a hug, cheering her up. We will save your teacher, but I can tell that it's somewhere within Volt's domain. It won't be easy finding her. Seishin said to her as she looked up at him. Just have faith that she will return. Thank you, Seishin. I needed that confidence boost. Aliyah said. The other day, while you were gone with Chloe and Yoriichi, I looked over the other towns with Olga using our magic and we were able to find the next location for you to rescue our next guest. It's Maya and she's currently in Rad. Olga added. It's the only town in this land that has the least guards. Only a few others from Volt were there to increase security, but that's only it. I was able to conjure up a magic compass for you, Seishin. Aliyah walked over and took the compass out of her sash and handed it to the young man. Just say where to go and it'll lead you the way. And can I say something else? What's wrong? Yoriichi asked her, which made her sulk her head. Maya, she once loved Volt back when she was younger. Aliyah began explaining. The two were once teammates long before he became the corrupted leader he is right now. What happened to her when Volt captured her? Seishin asked. When Volt and his men captured her, not only they violated her sexually, they exploited her memories, made fun of her and broke her down mentally. Tears swell up in Aliyah's eyes as she felt hurt even telling Seishin about what happened and seeing it firsthand. Alicia and Prim both walked over and hugged her tightly. Don't worry, Seishin. We'll get Maya back. Alicia said. We will, Aliyah. Yoriichi said as she petted the elf's head. DMN that BSTRD, Volt. Chloe growled. It's bad enough for him and his men to RPE us women and turn us into his slaves, but mentally and emotionally breaking them by exploiting one's personal memories for viewing pleasure. Oh, that tears it. I know how you all feel. Seishin said to the girls. We'll get your happy ending soon. And Aliyah, if you can find another one of my friends, please feel free to bring them over. I will. Aliyah replied as she wiped her tears. We'll take care of her while you're away, Seishin. Alicia said. Thanks, Alicia. Seishin said as he gave her an embrace on her lips before they left the building. As they ran to the nearest tree, Seishin's inner hollow immediately stopped him when he called his name. Seishin, I was over at Rad while you and the girls were talking and as I was there, I did see Maya, but I saw another person. She looked like some kind of shrine maiden with a crown, and her group of maidens are with her as well. Wait, Maya and Kaguya are there in Rad? Seishin cried, which immediately caught not only Yoriichi and Chloe, but Aliyah from in the chapel. The young elf heard what Seishin said and rushed out to catch up to him. You must hurry to Rad right away, those two are going to be taken to a district called Ken. It seems Volt is there and he wants Maya and Kaguya right now. Seishin's hollow continued. Got it. Seishin cried. We have to get to Rad right and dash. Seishin. Aliyah cried out to him. I overheard what you said. You also must save Kaguya as well. She's a skilled exorcist as well as using nature energy to restore or strengthen other people's energy. Seeing that to his advantage, Volt and his men invaded her domain and broke her seal and virginity using dark orcs. That's not all, Seishin. Let me possess you so I can tell what else I saw to Aliyah. Seishin's hollow asked. Very well, relay the news. Seishin replied before he closed his eyes and his inner hollow possessed him as one of his eyes hollowified. Thank you, Seishin. Seishin's hollow said before he turned to Aliyah. Aliyah, I also saw another princess over there as well. She was about Kaguya's height, has orange ringlet hair and wore a micro bikini under her green cloak. That's Roro. You're saying Roro's there? Aliyah gasped, which Seishin's hollow nodded. So it seems we have 3 knights to save, in one town. Yoriichi said. Seishin, you are the one that came to the world, so you are kinda the de facto leader. What should we do? Same way as we did the last time, travel to Rad, stop the enemies and save the girls. Seishin said. It's also a good time I caught you. Aliyah said, getting their attention. I was able to summon a few people from your timeline as well. You might know them pretty well. A few? Who cowl dash, just then, Seishin sensed a couple familiar spiritual pressures and turned to the front door as it slowly opened. When it did, he was surprised to see those familiar faces. One was a blue-eyed woman with full lips and a beauty mark under the right side of her mouth. Her blonde wavy hair stopped short of her shoulders and curled near her chin and the left side of her face. The big giveaways were her large melons the size of watermelons, her thin gold necklace tucked between her cleavage. She wore her signature shihakusho with a long pink scarf over her shoulders and her lieutenant's armband worn on her uniform sash as well as a split that ran along her right leg. The other one was a short young woman, almost to Seishin's height with chin-length dark green hair and purplish-red eyes. She was petite after a couple months, she grew to be well-endowed, nearly rivaling Yoriichi. Her shihakusho was short but below her waist and halfway down her thighs. She also wore a white band around her curvy waist and wore her knee-high white socks. On her zanpika toe, she has two small toys on the pommel, a small lion and a small red dragon. The third one was a short petite young woman with light skin, purple eyes and raven black hair, formed into a bob cut with several strands hanging between her eyes. She wore her usual Shinigami uniform with a fingerless white teko, which extend above her elbows. She wears her division badge around her uniform's left sleeve, which has been shortened to just reach her upper arm. The fourth one was a young girl with shoulder-length pink hair, two strands on the sides of her face stretched down to where her chin is, a crossbone hairpin on her top left side of her head, dark pink eyes and a perpetual blush on her cheeks. She worked the normal Shinigami uniform with her Haori identical to her partner. The difference was that he remembered her as a very small young girl, but now she blossomed into a young adult with an endowed bust and curvy rear. Her zanpakuto was well snug on her left hip. Lastly, a fairly tall, muscular lean-built young man with peach skin and brown eyes. The distinguishing feature that Seishin recognized him the most was his spiky orange hair. Ichigo wears his standard black shihakusho, but with some notable changes. He has two white shoulder plates crossing his chest in an X shape with the plate on his left shoulder having three sections adorned with red scales, and a white cloak with black markings tied around his waist. He currently has his zanpakuto on his back. Wow, Seishin. You've grown a lot since the last time I saw you. The blonde-haired one said. It's great to see you again, Seikun. The green-haired one said. Seishin, hi. The pink-haired one cheerfully cried. Hello again, Seishin. The petite Shinigami greeted with the tall male greeting him with a wave. And no way. Rukia, Ranjaku, and Ichigo. Even Nozomi and Yachiru. Seishin cried. Ranjaku was surprised that Seishin's face was turning blue from her death hug, so she released him before he passed out. Sorry, I'm just excited to see you again. Ranjaku said as she giggled. Same old Ranjaku. Nozomi said as she sighed. As for you, Nozomi, you have grown. Seishin said without sounding like a pervert. I'll let that slide, but thank you for the compliment, Seishin. Nozomi said as she calmly chuckled as she lightly punched his side. Seikun. Yachiru cried as she ran towards him and tackles him into the ground smothering him in her hug. Why Yachiru? You have grown. In more ways. Seishin said as he felt her ample assets smothering his face. Hehe, Kisuke gave me a special ability that lets me turn from my cute childlike form to this busty adult form. Yachiru giggled as she continued pressing her chest into his face. Now I can tease you like this, the same way Yoriichi does to you and Ichi. Hey, leave me out of this. Ichigo said as he sighed while wearing his signature scowl when he helped free Seishin from Yachiru's suffocating hug. Ah geez. It's good to see you again, Seishin. Same to you Ichigo, Rukia. Seishin, Rukia, and Ichigo shared a calm smile before greeting each other with their fist bump. You as well. Rukia answered. Care to tell us all what's going on? And who's the elf? Yes, but we have to go. Seishin said as he, Yoriichi and Chloe lead the others until they stood under a large tree. I'll tell you all on the way. What are you about to do? Ranjaku asked him as she watched Seishin's eyes hollowified. Shadow travel. Seishin said as and the others grabbed their hands before the eight sank into the tree's shadow and into the shadow realm. What the hell? Ichigo said as he was shocked at where he and the others are at. Seishin, what is this place? This is the shadow realm and the ability I used to get us in here is shadow travel. Seishin answered. My inner hollow was teaching me how to do this for the past 3 months. It only works when I am near a shadow and when I summon my hollow mask. Don't worry, you won't sink in this realm. Yoriichi said as she calmly smirked. Ichigo and the others let go of their hands and were amazed that they weren't sinking. They then followed Seishin, Yoriichi and Chloe. Along the way, Seishin introduced the newcomers to Chloe and explained the story Aaliyah told him, so they can be up to speed with Salinas. So Eostia is under a tyrannical ruler who is leader of a mercenary group called KUROINU. Nozomi asked him. And a group of princesses band together to stop this threat, only for Volt to turn them into slaves. Ranjaku said. Correct. Yoriichi answered. That tyrannical ruler is Volt. Several centuries ago, a war happened between humans and dark elves led by Olga Discordia, queen of the dark elves who Chloe serves under. Yes, KUROINU did help in the war, but even we, elves had been double-crossed by him. Chloe said as she clenched her fists. He and those dogs violated me, then my queen. And then he did the same to the princesses as well as the high elf, Celestine. Rukia chimed in. I'm so sorry to hear what happened. But thanks to Seishin-sama's arrival, we now have one chance to get our land back. Chloe continued as she flew next to her MSTR and clinged to his arm, smiling. Seishin-sama. Ichigo gasped and Rukia was stunned. Nozomi was rather surprised that Seishin could do something like this, while Ranjaku grew impressed. Yachiru remained oblivious as she flew around like she's a superhero. I never knew you were that type of guy, Seishin. Ranjaku said. It wasn't intentional, I had to save them. I don't want Chloe, Olga or anyone else be SEC slaves to Volt or some leech that only cares for using women as toys or tools. Seishin said as he turned to Ranjaku. I can see why Aaliyah summoned you here. Ichigo said. Ah geez. Why in the hell would there be men either stupid like my dad, or weird like Captain Kuratsuchi? It wasn't long until Seishin and the others arrived to Rad. The 8 of them held close to each other before they all seeped out of the shadows and stayed inside an old abandoned barn. They looked around seeing that it's still in stable condition. Seishin's hollow shifted from his human vessel's shadow and gave a quick patrol of the district of Rad before returning back into his inner world. Seishin, I see some of the guards with Kaguya, her maidens, and Roro. There are 10 guards with each cage but there are 20 of the guards with Maya. However they just took her into an abandoned room. Seishin's hollow reported. Something tells me they're about to, and I quote, have fun with her. I see, where are they from here? Seishin asked. I'll share the intel with Ichigo and the others. Seishin's hollow immediately formed shadow hands out of Seishin's shadow and planted them on each of their heads and gave them the intel of where Kaguya, Maya and Roro are at. Alright. Seishin opened his eyes and looked at Ichigo and the others. We have this one chance to save these girls. Doing this will cripple KUROINU's control on the princesses. Ichigo, you and Rukia will go and save Kaguya. Got it. Rukia answered. You can count on us. Ichigo nodded. Yoriichi, you and Chloe will go and save Roro. Seishin continued as the 2 dark-skinned ladies agreed. Ranjaku, you and Nozomi can handle freeing Kaguya's maidens. What about me? Yachiru whined. Easy, you'll be with me. Seishin replied. We'll go and get Maya. I would like to see your Zanpakuro's power once more. Yay, I'm gonna be with Seishin. Yachiru cheered as she tackle-hugged Seishin to the ground. Yachiru. Can't breathe. Seishin tries to speak despite Yachiru suffocating her with her endowed assets. Shortly after Seishin giving the orders to the others, they opened the barn doors and looked to see if the coast is clear. Seishin then summoned his hollow mask and donned his cloak, changing his outfit's appearance like last time. Seishin, why did you summon your mask? Nozomi asked him. Volt doesn't know my true identity. Seishin answered. I had worn my mask when I saved Chloe and Olga, Alicia and Prim. I see. Ranjiku giggled and smirked. So you are like a masked superhero in this world, huh? Hee hee, something like that. Seishin replied. Anyway, now that you know where they are, my inner hollow will let me know when you all did your part. Ready, now scatter. After Seishin gave the order, everyone immediately used Flash Step. Yoriichi and Chloe then held hands before using Flash Step as well. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 3. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author Takamagara 2012 on fanfiction.net. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.